Noise. Don't know what to say, but my internet is just going down like it was. Okay, let me see if we can restore the stream somehow. Can we? Please, can we restore the stream? Yeah, my internet went down. It's not my fault, it's my internet provider fault. I already called them many times, but it seems they don't care. Or anyway, they said they're gonna fix it, but for now, they didn't. Sometimes, I mean, purely randomly, my connection goes down. And it goes down only for 1 minute. So it goes down for 1 minute and then it starts again. The problem is that this is splitting the stream and is splitting the YouTube videos in two. Then all the people connected see that the stream is down, so they don't know what to do, if I'm really gone or not. You know, so it's a bit annoying that the internet goes down. But I'm back. Don't worry, I'm here. Okay, so I recompiled and I just did the change that now we are basically going through the plane shift player controller. So we're going through the controller instead of going through the pawn. And that is because in the character creation we don't have a pawn yet. And so that's why the server was crashing. Which makes perfect sense. It was just something I overlooked. So now I'm expecting to see our trades properly, hopefully. Why is giving this error? No, there's no error. It's just the editor which is a bit weird, but it's not an error. So I click here, I run this. Okay, fine. It didn't give any error. Now I want to see on the client. Trades received 3. Okay, perfect. So, so we received on the client side the 3 trades, that we have requested, which is good. Now we have a bit of an issue here. I don't know why. We have some errors on something else, on the podium character. It's okay at the moment, I don't care. So we got our trades, which is very nice. It's exactly what we wanted, and so we are populating these trades properly on the client side. So our creation screen now knows that we have the possibility to customize the face of the character with three different faces, which is what we have in the database, right? So that's pretty good. That's actually really good. And now what's next? Now we would like to show it on the screen, at least the character when I click. When I click here, because if I click on suggest name, I already get a name. But if I click here, nothing happens at the moment. Okay, and we want something to happen. So in particular, we want. Let me see if do we get any? No, we don't get any printouts, because I think I didn't implement it yet. So I arrived up to here, right, and I didn't implement it. So when I click on this, okay, I think I don't need this, and I don't need the server. I need my editor now. I need the editor now. So I don't remember if it should be a server side, but I don't think so, because this creation is only client side, right? So there is no one messing up with us. We just need to call. We just need to call the creation of a new character on the client. That's it. I'm just checking if the video was split, but I'm 100% sure that the video was split due to the crash. Or, I mean, due to the disconnection of the internet. Yes. Okay, I will call them point 1 and point 2, and that's it. Okay, so here we are in the character creation, and when I click on this button, actually what happens is that a certain race is selected. Now what we want to do here is to delete the previous character, so destroy the previous character in case there is one, and we can access that through the podium character, which is actually in our player controller, because we have in our player controller we have if I'm not mistaken, let me see, do you see a podium something? No, it's not here. Should be it though. It's not here. Okay. Okay. I remember we had, and I can just search it overall. Podium character, it is. Where is this podium character on? The podium character is actually in the character selection window. That's a bad idea. It's actually kind of the same window though, but okay. Okay. So I think for now we leave it there. It's fine. I don't want to, let's say, change too much. So from this window, what we need to do, we need to get our player controller, and then from the player controller we need to cast it obviously to our plane shape player controller, otherwise we never work. And then we need to get our character creation, character selection window, and then from the character selection window we need to get our podium, get podium character. Okay, so it's a bit of a long redirection, but basically, I mean, code wise is like 1 millisecond. So we get the pointer to the podium character, and the first thing that we do if this is valid. If this is valid, we will just destroy it. Okay. So we do destroy actor. Right? Destroy actor, which is the same one that we were doing here. Okay. The target will be this podium character. Why? Because I mean we want to remove the character, otherwise we will see multiple characters on top of each other, which is not what we want to see. Okay. Then after this we want to so it is basically remove previous character. Then what we want to do is to load the new one, right? Load the new one. So how do we load the new one? we need to know, first thing we need to know is the race. So which race we are loading. And in our case, we are setting this clicked race. Let me check clicked race. Clicked race where is used, okay? Because there must be a get clicked race, get selected race, get clicked race, get gender, get clicked race. Yes. So this is setting our race to the name. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. But then I need as well the actual model, right? The actual model, because the mesh name is not the race name. The mesh name is, for example, Ilian M. M stands for male, or Stone B M, and it is the one that I can load properly. And so it is the one that I need somehow to get. So, or we set also mesh name. We could do it, huh? We could just set a mesh name here. What do you think? Because we have the gender, or we have to do a big switch based on race and gender. What is the best? Get selected race. Get selected race. I don't know if I want to do it like this. I'm thinking what is the best way to, I mean, the most optimized way and the best way to actually get the mesh. Because, okay, client side, I have no idea what is the mesh. Or I search it in the database. I mean, I have to search it in the database, right? I have to search it in the database. There is no way I can invent it client side because it may change. So I need somehow to match this with the gender and then go into the database and get my, yeah, so this one I need to do. I don't know if we already have a function that does it, but this one we need to do. So we need to have one function which is getting the mesh name. I don't think we have it. I think we should add it on top now. I think we should just add it here. So we should have get mesh name from race and gender, right? So this will be a function blueprint callable for sure, and the function will be called get mesh name from race and gender. Yeah, no, it's a bit crazy, but it's okay. It's very clear. And this one we'll have as an input. What do we want? We want a string or we want the ID? Well, actually in our race info, what we have the name, the actual name. So I think we have to go by name and I think we have to go by name and sex. Name and gender, and then decide, you know. Or I can store this ID. No, but I don't want to store stuff client side. I think we should just go here and ask it. I think would be easier. It's obviously one interaction with the server back and forth, but you know, is that an issue? I don't think so. I don't think that's an issue. So I think we just pass in an f string, which is the race, and an f string, which is gender, and I guess nothing else. So this one will run server side and will do, we can add it down here, and this will be inside PlaneShift controller base for sure. We still stay on the controller because again the pawn doesn't exist. So here I just need to do a simple query. It's very simple, so I just do a very simple query. I think I can do it. Can I do it from here, or do I need anything different? No, I think I can do it from here. I think I can just run a query with my DB. Because we always have a pointer to our DB, which is actually called SQL wrapper. I don't know exactly why we why like here we didn't use DB. Because I have this, and this is initialized for sure. For sure this one is initialized. So I don't understand why in our pregame helper we do all this crazy stuff. Discuss can fail, we only have a win game mode, there's always this one. Discuss secret for the helper, blah blah blah. I mean, it is doing get vault, get authentication mode, get wrapper. It seems like our pregame has its own SQL manager, but okay, I think we have to change that sooner or later, but not now. So for now, here we will just go DB, and DB should be available. Even if I think I never called the database, I never had a database call directly from player controller. Now, is it a bad practice? I don't know. I mean, it's not too much of a problem, I think we can do it. I think I always called another function that then was calling the database, but yeah, I think we never have a database call in here. But you know, who cares? I mean, I don't feel it's a problem really. So we will do a query, and this query we will just yeah, we just need to have something like this. I mean, not really like that, but where we take where we do just a select. We just need to select one thing. So we need to select this thing, the string mesh from race info, where my name is equal to what is coming there, and sex equal to what is coming from there, right? That's it. And so here I need to just have my race and my, what happened? My race and my gender. Okay. So let me just put the debug because I like to see it. So this one will do a straight DB call, which is fine. After this straight DB call, though, we need to give the result in another function, because again, remember that we are asynchronous here. We are going client and server back and forth, so we are working in kind of an asynchronous mode. So it's important that we remember this. And so I need to create another function. So this one will return, some stuff like a result set for sure. This one will return result set, and this result set, very simply, I can do a for loop, but it will be only one item. I mean, I'm sure there will be only one item. And I can just loop here. I have no idea why we're using int32. I will just get the first line of this, and in the first line I will get just the first result. I think it's okay. So if we find no race, that would be a bit of a problem. If we find no mesh, I think we can default to something, but we will probably default to stone MB, but we don't want to have be in a situation where we have no I mean, it's obviously a critical problem if for some reason we don't find, you know, our mesh. I think is for sure is a problem. But let's just put some default in case. And here mesh name will be like row item of 0, I guess. So it's just extracting the first one. And then we want to do here, we want to return this value to the client. Okay, and to return it to the client, very simply, I will create another function. This is not get, but is request. And I will have blueprint implementable, blah, 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 which is receive mesh name. Okay. And this one will be called, yeah, I don't think I like the get. I think I will call request. Request and receive is always better. So I keep consistent, you know. Request and receive. The receive will just receive a string, yes, which is mesh name. Okay, nice. So this one now we need to change here because I changed the name. And here, then I will call my receive mesh name, and I will pass in the mesh name. Right? I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. So now, with this said, what are we gonna call when we are gonna call this? When we are gonna call this? I don't like this thing too much. But anyway, I think there is no other way. It's okay. There is no other way. So we have this get selected race, right? And in this get selected race, what we want to do, we want to call it when we click on that button, which was where? I don't remember. It was here somewhere. It was here. Okay, so remove previous character, and then we need to display the new character. So to do this, we will do for sure get selected race, right? and this selected race. Oh no, wait a second. Get selected race. Right. Get selected race. The function, not the. Why is doing this? Wait a second. Get selected race. Yeah, like this. So this one is returning. No, this one is just filling out this variable. So just to be sure that we are filling out the variable properly and is then available to us. I mean, this function could also return a value, by the way, but it's okay, it's the same. So when we get the selected race, which is then inside this variable, we would like to call the server side, and we have to do the same trick as we did before, exactly identical, so exactly like this graph. So we need to create a new event, which will be called request mesh name. Let's call it just request mesh name. It's okay, I think. This one will run on server and be reliable, and we'll get as input the race name as a string, and it will get the gender as a string. Okay, perfect. Then this one will call the function that I just compiled here. I have to compile it. So let's do it hot reload and see what happens. Hold tight, boys. Hot reload is never it's never easy. Okay, we go for the hot reload of that. We add this function, so we basically call there our request name mesh and gender, right? So we will call it here as soon as it becomes available, server side, and then we will do the same trick client side, and we will have our race name, our mesh name. With the mesh name, we can finally generate the character. Yeah, it's a bit of a back and forth between the client and server, but it's fine. I mean, from the point of view of the performances, will be nothing crazy. Really nothing crazy. Okay, so you decompile. We need to hear the blip. When you hear the blip, it means that the Unreal Engine has updated itself with a hot reload. I see new people joining. Hello, welcome to the stream. We are waiting the compilation of this. Waiting. Meanwhile, I'm eating a biscuit. Wait a second. Do you want to know which biscuit I will be eating? I will be eating exactly this one. Exactly this one. While it's combining. Okay. I'm eating that. Okay, compiled, which means that now here we have we should have, in fact we have it, our request mesh name race and gender, and just connect these two. Okay, in this case the function is clear enough. Then we will have the other one, which is the receive mesh and gender from blah, blah, blah. This thing. This one will arrive server side as well, and so we need to add as usual a new event client side, which we will call receive mesh name on client, and this one will have one input, which is our which is our mesh name. Okay. Now I messed it up a bit. Okay. It messed it up because it didn't compile that name yet, and so I didn't know what it was. Okay. So this is fine. This is all good. At this point we have it on client, so we have the answer on client of that query. Hopefully that query goes well and it retrieves the right values and blah blah blah. So hopefully yes. I think so. Then we have to do the same thing. So we get our character create window, and so here what we need to do, we need to call a function. Let's make a function. Let's create a function inside of this, which is called display hero or something like that. Let's make a new function, and we will call it display character. Okay. At the moment, the display character will have only one input, which I would say is the mesh name. But in the future, I think we will have more stuff here. But for now, it will just be like this. So here we call our display character that we just created, and we obviously pass in the mesh name. Okay, so this thing on this side is done. So I'm hopefully getting this value on the client. So what we are expecting to get from the database. By the way, I don't know exactly why I did it on the database, because in theory I could get it only from memory. It is a very bad idea. Yeah, I can make it better. I mean, obviously this works, but we are hitting the database, and I don't want to hit the database when I have something already in memory, right? So I think we can we can simply go, instead of this line, we can simply go to our cache manager, and I think there should be get. There is the opposite one though. There is get race info by mesh name. There is a get race info by mesh name. Actually need the opposite. So from the race, I need to know the mesh. If I do just race info, I mean I can do get race info by ID. I see. Get race info by name and gender. Found it. This one needs doesn't get a string though. It gets an integer and a gender. Why it gets an integer though? Name and gender. It's not good. What do you mean? It is weird. I guess a name. Why was saying integer then? Maybe because there is more than one function, more than one version of it. I don't know. Anyway, it gets a string. He gets a string and then you get the gender. The only problem of the gender is that we have it as MFN, while here it needs something different. Yes, there are two functions. He needs a PS character gender. Okay, PS character gender we don't have. PS character gender we don't have. Gender type, let's call it. So we need to do a translation of this, even if, so let me just check what it is. Doesn't it have a default value? No, it has numbers. So it's none, male and female. I mean, none is probably our neutral, right? So like the clan is not gender. So I would say, yeah, we just need to switch, always switch case on 3, or we just use the ternary operator 2 times. Which one you like more? I don't know, it's the same. So I would say gender equals to male, then the result is character gender male. If not, we have to check if gender is equal to female, and if yes, we do female, and if not, we assume that at this point must be none. Does it work this way, or is too stupid? Or is too complex? I mean, the fact that I have a ternary operator twice. If this, then this. Otherwise, I can put a parenthesis maybe if he likes it. If he likes it more, I can put a parenthesis. If it's male, male. If not, check if it's female or none, right? Yeah, I think like this is fine. Why doesn't like me? The argument lists are f string and character gender. Yes, they are. Well, what is your problem? You want a char pointer? No. Why you want a char pointer, my friend? No, let's change it. You want a char pointer, really? I think you should just get an f string, boy. Just get an f string and don't complain. Yeah, in fact, I was doing this, you know. I was converting it to an f string anyway inside the function, so it's a bit stupid. Let's just do it like this. So our cache manager, now this thing may change a few things, but cache manager is always a better idea to use f strings. So we have okay, good. So we have this, we call it, we get our information back, so we don't need to hit the database anymore, which is something that I really like more. So let's remove this. Let's remove this. This will return. This will return. What does it return? I hope it returns a string. Wait a second. Where's this guy? This one will return. Or returns a race info. Well, it's okay because a race info we can then get a race info pointer. Pointer to incomplete class. I mean, okay, fine with me. He wants to have the include to race info. Race info should be under bulk objects, I think. No, should be. Yes, PS race info. So yeah, it's under bulk objects slash PS race info. Okay. So now he has it. It doesn't complain anymore about the incomplete name. And now, if IntelliSense can do it, there should be a get mesh name. Perfect. And that's it. Much better. I don't know why I decided to hit the database. Very bad idea. If you see me doing it again, tell me. We should never hit the database. Whenever you see me writing down like a select something, you should not do it. You should always hit the memory because we have all the data loaded, preloaded when the server is starting. So all this base information should never go through the database, never ever. Okay. So we did this. Now what? We did this. Now I lost a bit my track of thought. We were willing to display the character. Yes. And so we are calling mesh name. Considering we did a lot of stuff, I would just put a nice printout here, printing the mesh name and seeing if at least up to here everything works, because we already did a lot. So mesh to display, and we just put in this, and we just put in this. Okay, so this is the mesh to display. And then sorry, we're distracted by some messages. So now that we do this, should we just test it up to here? Maybe we can just test it up to here. I think it's already enough. So when I click, so all that stuff will just print out. Okay, so let's try it like this. Let's recompile without auto reload, launch server client, click on one. I think I didn't pass in the gender. Yeah, I didn't. So we have to reopen the editor because I forgot to pass in the gender in the blueprint, or to connect anyway to this thing. Yes, I think I forgot to do it. Okay. One succeeded. One succeeded, so we can launch it. We can launch it also. No, sorry, I need to go editor first. Need to go editor first. Need to go editor first, and I just want to see if we connected the gender and the race. I think we didn't. So exactly here. So we need to call in our player controller. We need to call the request mesh name. And we will pass in the selected race and then the gender. The gender, how do we get it? How do we get the gender? How do we get the gender? Well, when I do an upload character, I think I'm already getting the gender. So let me see how we do it. In the character creation quick, I think here I'm getting the gender for sure. Set selected race, parents life, get gender. It's a bit of a mess here. I did it already with the numbers. If cran, then gender equal to 0. If it's not a cran, then check the ismail. Where is this ismail coming from, though? Target ismail is getting it from WinChar creation race. This code is a bit of a mess, if I can say. Why we don't... I don't like the fact that we have to call the ismail from outside and get gender. I mean, why we need to do this? This one should be inside of this, right? It should be inside of this. That's a bit stupid. Let me change it. I don't like it. So I will remove this. And we have any way to get the player controller and get our WinChar race and we'll get whatever. So so we can just get the ismail from there, right? We can just get the ismail from here and pass it here. Yeah, I think I prefer it this way. So this function will not have an input anymore. It's just getting sorry, it's just getting the gender of the based on whatever is on screen, right? Which is a better idea. And this means, yes, this means that this one we can disconnect. This is just the get gender, which is returning the gender, so which is a bit cleaner. And so we can do the same. Yeah, check out if you need to check out, no problem. and this means that we can just call the same. So now I can call the same function. So I did this because I want to call the same function without any parameters from my character creation array. So I want to call this. Now that one, for some reason, we put it on character creation quick. Why we put it here? I think it should not be here. It should be all where you have selected the race. So this one should be in character creation race. 100% should be there. I will move it. I don't like it here. I don't like it here. It's a bit of a mess, this part of the code. It was not a long time ago. So like we have get selected race, I think we have the same, which is get gender, right? And get gender will do exactly what this is doing, with the difference that now, since we are in the same screen, yeah, it's much better. I don't have to do all this stuff. All this stuff is completely unneeded. Yeah, exactly. It's much simpler. So what I do, I just get the check ran and check race, which by the way I have here. Right? So I do this, so these two I connect here. Much simpler, boys. And yes, I want my branch here for sure. So basically, this is very simple. This is saying if is a cran, return 0. If not, check the is male, which by the way is here, so we can just connect it like that. And it's done like this. Okay, so we improved a bit this part. I'm pretty happy about it. So now we have the get gender. Now this get gender has to be called though, and I want to remove it from the character creation quick. I think it makes no sense to have it here, so let me delete it from here. Now this will complain obviously, but we already have this, and so we do get gender, which we just created now. So I just substituted with this, and I put this into gender, I put this here, I put this here. Okay. Much better. Okay, so this looks better. And this means that we have basically on this screen, this one, right? So in this screen, you have all the functions that are extracting the gender and the race, which makes sense because this is the place where you set it. So in the place where you set it is also the place where you extract it. So this one we fixed and we simplified. Nice. Now the other thing we need to do is in our characterization race, then here we can now we have the function here, so I just do a get gender and that's it, right? Now the difference is that this get gender unfortunately is well, not unfortunately, but anyway, is already an int. Is already the way we want it server side. So I need to change this. Okay, it's fine. I can change it. I can change it, my friends. And so all these lines that I wrote is absolutely unnecessary. Annoying but true. Because we are simplifying it even more. Even more. We can just do that. And then this one in the plane shifter controller base will become an int, and so I need to auto reload to change all this stuff because it will be very different. Yes. Okay, let's try. So I will see. I just changed the type, so at least we have already this variable as an integer, and it's simpler. It's even simpler. Yeah, I struggle a bit to think the right way from the beginning because there are so many pieces of code that has been done in the past, and so I think that they've been done differently. Like now, so I implemented two functions, and then I realized they were not needed, or I could do it differently, and so I had to change them. But, so we lost a bit of time, if you want, on this, but at the end I think we found the right way. I think we found the right way. Okay. Okay. So this one succeeded. So we should get now on this side the changes. So this function. Okay, so you see that this function doesn't exist anymore. And he's right because it's been changed. No, wait. No, this one we have to change ourselves. Okay, this one we have to change. Okay. And now this one will stay the same. This one will be okay. This one will stay the same. Yes. Now in our creation arrays, now this one is gender, which is an integer, and you see that now we can just connect it. Boom. Okay. Okay. So now that we have connected this, I'm expecting finally my mesh name to come back to me. So do we want to test it? Yes, we want. We are in auto reload mode. Maybe let me do a clean compile. Just I mean, when I say clean compile, doesn't mean clean, but it means just recompile to avoid the auto reload. In fact, you say that here, I don't know, maybe it's too small for you, but it says deleting hot reload file, blah, 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 blah. Okay, succeeded. So what we want to see now on the client side, we want to see the mesh name getting properly published. The mesh name corresponds to the 3D model that we have to load. So I click here. When I click on alien, I'm expecting a message. It seems it didn't work. I mean, we received the traits, but When I click here, it seems that nothing is freaking happening. When I click here, it seems that nothing is happening. Why? Okay, we have to check that. You must do it though. I don't understand why it's not. There is one disconnected element in the graph. I think we have disconnect. There is something that is not connected properly because is here. Yes, is here. Because if we are destroying the the previous actor, then we go here. But if we are not destroying it, we need anyway to go here, right? So we have to go here anyway. We just skip the destruction, but we have to go here anyway. So this was the problem, pretty much. I think the one lesson learned is that to keep the client as light as possible while you are doing this kind of development, so that you don't have to load up, you know, like 5 gigabytes of art every time you do one test. Because yes, if I had the full client, you know, with everything, that would be quite crazy in terms of loading time all the time. Like now, my server is starting very quick and my client is starting very quick. Now I don't know what will happen when we'll have to do more complex checks. Okay, nothing is happening anyway. No, well, something happened, and what happened is that our server crashed. And the server crashed probably for some errors in the code. Let me see. The server actually crashed. And crashed on an F string. Okay. Wow, crashed while receiving a packet. He crashed in request name from race and gender. Okay, let me see. Request. It crashed in the request and not in the. Yeah, it crashed in the request. Okay. So maybe he didn't find this combination. Seems he didn't find a combination, and for some reason race info came out empty. I think this one came out empty. I think it's good anyway to do a check. So I think it's good he crashed because it tells us that we need to be a bit more careful with this call and just have you know, a ps race info star race info equals, so that we just check if this one is valid, because if it's not valid, so at least we don't crash, you know, because something like that I think is more safe, because actually for some reason this was not working. So I think either we are sending in an empty string or the string that is searching for is not correct. So even if in our database we have, or we sent out something weird. I don't know, we have to debug it to see, but it seems that we sent out something. So let's launch it in debug mode and see, but our race info was not valid. Basically our race info was not valid. Now I hope I can cast it this way, right? Because I casted an int directly to PS race to PS character gender. Should be fine because this one is 0, 1, 2, and 3, so I mean it should be fine. Should not give any problems of any kind. Okay, starting up in debug mode. So we will see what value we get. I mean, it may be empty. If it's empty, like this function maybe is called. No, it's called on the click, so it should be okay. I don't understand why. I think that he has a wrong value. He has a wrong value for some reason. We will see that here we have a wrong value coming in. We don't need this breakpoint anymore. So as soon as I click, for example, on Dermorian, but I didn't click the gender yet. No, but I think male is automatically selected, right? Okay, yeah. So this should be a Dermorian male. Dermorian male, yeah, I think it's correct. So what's the problem? Race info is valid, so if I go, it did not crash, but at the same time, also it did not give me any value. Okay, let me click it again. The mesh name is Scran, which is fine. Then we call this function. And this function should go client side and work. Why is not? So the value we get it correct from the database. I know that we get Cran, that we got another race, but the point is that here the Dermorian male has still Cran set for whatever reason, but it's okay. So we are getting the right value from the database and displaying it. Then we can change the database. But then when that value is getting sent to our client, for some reason we are not receiving it, or anyway we are bailing out somehow else, some other way. So the request is done properly. The request, so this part is good, but then this part is not. Oh man, I missed run alone client and reliable. Okay, that's why. Fine. Boys, you should watch me, okay? When I do this stupid stuff, you should just say. Just tell me. So we'll do this game quicker. Okay, I saved it. I will not launch it in debug mode anymore because I think it should be fine. Should be. Okay, we click on one. Cran. Okay, so we get the value. Okay, now there are some that are different, like for example Stonebreaker Male is Stone MB or Noltri. Let's try Noltri Ref. Well, all these values are broken though, so we need to fix them in the database. But let's try the Stonebreaker Male. Stonebreaker Male. Yes, we get Stone BM. Yeah, maybe it's too small for you to see, but let me increase it a bit more. But when I click here, I get in Stone BM. So it's actually working okay. Now, do we have a female version of anything with a different value? No, we don't. Okay, so we will need to change all of this stuff. But for now, I think it's okay. So we are getting our value. Okay, good. So we know, thanks to the database, which character we should display in 3D, right? So which 3D character we should display here in this window. Now, to actually display it, we need to do something very similar to what we have in the character selection widget. So it's not exactly like this, but it's very similar to this. Character selected item, so that's why I'm looking, because it's very similar. Character select, dummy entry, blah blah blah. What is that? The coloring is this one, spawn character on podium. I think we can maybe use even the same function. The spawn character on podium, can we reuse it? Because yes, it's doing the check and it's removing the character if it's already there. Then it's doing all this crazy stuff, which I think we will have to redo exactly as it is. Then we will have to spawn the actor exactly the same. So can we make maybe this thing a function and call it... well, the difference is that it is going for this. In our case, is a bit different. Find character class. What is this thing? Pre-game helper. Actually, we need only this function, find character class, which takes the class name, appending this thing. Race, gender, name. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I need these two. I don't think I need much more than that. I think I need these 3 blocks. I think I need these 3 blocks, not much more. Pre-game helper is connected to my Planship player controller, so let me do the usual get controller. Well, let me copy it because I have it somewhere for sure. Yeah. Okay, these 2 blocks. I need these 2 blocks. Then from here I need this block, and then I need to append the race, the mesh name to this, and then pass it to find character class. Now we just need to be sure that this final character class is valid, right? But is just putting it here into spawn actor. I think we need also this though. We need the spawn actor and we need to set the podium character to this. Yeah, so actually we need also these boxes, otherwise it will not work. Yeah, so we are duplicating a bit of that code, but it's fine. So we need to spawn this actor. What? Hmm? Why? Why it works there and doesn't work here? I don't understand. Why? Why? Why it's okay here? I don't know, because I missed this. That's why. If the cast is failed, I don't know what to do. But I think it should never happen. So we are spawning this. Now the transform, we take it from the podium map. The podium map, I think there is no valid. The podium map, it doesn't exist here, exactly. So the podium map, we need to take it from our Planeship player controller. No, where is the podium map coming from? The podium map is coming from the character select widget. Okay, so we need to go here to get our select widget, and from here get the podium map. No? No? Why? There is the podium spawn. Yeah, the podium spawn. I don't get why. Char select widget object reference. Char select widget object reference. So why doesn't it go there? Holy moly. What is this? Are you joking? It's not visible maybe? Yeah, it's not visible. That's why. Okay. Yeah, it was not visible. Variables have to be set as visible for actually. Come on. What is... Okay. Cannot get it. I have my podium spawn here, which is a variable. But for some reason... What I'm doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong for sure. I have my character selection widget, right? Let me redo it. I have my player controller. From the player controller, I get my char select widget. Now, get char select widget, get win char select, get win char select. A bit confused by this difference. Why? Get win char select. Okay, yeah, I think it's the name that is messing up with me. Yeah, the name is messing up a bit with me. Okay, so this is what we needed to do. So now we have our podium spawn, and with the podium spawn we get the transform, and then we set the transform here, and then what we want to do, we want to set the podium character as well, which is not here but is here, right? We have some failure possibilities. So we have this cast failed, which should never happen because I have my player controller, and we have this cast failed, which actually I don't know exactly when it may happen, but if like the class name is not pointing to any character class, okay, which also should never happen unless we are giving a wrong name here, but it should never happen. If he fails, let's print something though. We can say mesh name provided doesn't translate to a character class. Yeah, I know it's a bit of a weird message, but I think it will never happen to a player. It will only happen to us now in the debugging phase. And I think we can connect, you know, this. I think we can connect this and see. Okay, so what this piece of code should do in theory is to actually display a 3D character of the right race and gender in the selection window, right? Then we will have to see how to display the traits, because this is only for displaying the character, let's say the basic version, the base version. But then as soon as we click on the traits, we may change his color or his hair, his beard, and other stuff. So okay, let's see if something happens, because I'm not sure something will happen, but it may work. What happened? I heard the wheel sound. And now this is only happening client side, so the 3D part is happening only client side, right? Because we don't replicate that character in any way. So when I click here, I want to see, nice, and okay, perfect. I think it's working. I think it's working okay. Now the only thing we need to do is to change the races in the database, because at the moment the majority of the races are just pointing to Cran, right? And it's not a very good idea. Yes. Okay, let's try. I think it is good. I think it is good. It's good. We obtained what we wanted. Now we just need to make the database compatible. So, let me see. Enkidukai mail. Enkidukai mail. Enkidukai mail is Enki M, right? So this one will become Enki M. Enkidukai female will be Enki F. Then we have Inun is Inun. Well, it's actually Inun M. Inun female is F Inun for whatever reason. It's always been like this historically. It's a bit annoying, but it's the way it is. Then we have the alien male. We have the Stonebreak. The Xacha doesn't exist anymore. Oh, we can set it to alien male anyway, but it doesn't make any difference. Noltrir female, Noltrir male is just Noltrir M, Noltrir M, and Noltrir F. Noltrir F. Then we have Lemur doesn't exist. Well, actually exists, but we don't have a race for it, so we can set it to the Noltrir for now. Dermorian male is Derm M. Dermorian female is Derm F. Hammerwilder, so this is Stonebreaker, this is Stone BM and Stone BM, and Stone BF. Okay. And we still have the alien female, which we don't have the character of. So I don't know what to use. I think historically we were using the Inun female, even if it's completely wrong. But and here we can use the alien male. No, sorry, the same alien female. Okay. All the rest it should be okay. No, there is still a bit. There is the Stone BF. There is the Lemur F, which also we don't have. Maybe here we can use the Noltrir actually. And the Kleros we have, so the Kleros should be Kleros. And that's it, the others are monsters. So if we now apply all these changes and we restart our server and client, I think we should start to see now the races loaded properly in that window. Most likely, most probably. If this works, I think we have anyway good. We didn't reach the traits yet, but we made some good progress. Okay. Alien male, there it is. Alien female. Okay, we get this one, which is anyway correct. The modern female. We don't get the modern male. I think we did a mess on the modern male. Let me check. actually the Morian male is their mem, so it should be okay, but for some reason is not showing as a male. Now it's showing as a male. Okay, there was some female. Why? No idea. Why it takes a bit before he updates? I mean, why is okay? Enki male, Enki female. Kleros female doesn't exist, but we have the Kleros male. Why it goes to the default here? No idea. Anyway, it's working. Okay, it's just a matter of putting right value in the database, but it's definitely working. You can see here all the right values. So we still have the Northern female on the Kran. I don't know why Kran, because I did a test I think the other day, so I just changed this. Now the Kleros is not showing. The Kleros male and Kleros female because I put it as Kran. But then the Kleros female should be. Why is doing this? Because I think it's Kleros M and not Kleros, that's why. Yeah, exactly. I put just the wrong value in the database. Okay, but anyway, if you put the right values, it shows up properly. Okay, so that's the point. So if you put the right values here, it shows up properly. So we've proven that. So this part is okay. I mean, this part is okay. It's very nice. It's very nice. So we can show the character based on the gender and the race. Now we just need to be sure that when we click on male and female, we are changing it. And then the next point will be to be able to select, the different traits here in the window, right? Which we'll have to basically apply a trait to the character, which is something that we never did in Unreal, but it's not that hard because we have already some functions like the mesh. I mean, it's similar to when we equip a chainmail. It's just that we have to put on the texture for the character, but I think it's perfectly fine. Okay, I think that's good. I think it's kind of dinner time, so we made good progress in our I think what we did, yes, there is more than that, as I was expecting. There is more than just this list. There is another element that we did, which is here in the middle, which is a display the proper race and gender. Display the proper race and gender, I think is fine as it is. Explains itself. Sorry, just a bit of OCD. Okay. So what we did? Well, we did actually this point, because now handle traits is working properly and we received the traits client side, so it's very nice. And we did this one that I just added, but anyways, this one we did. Now the next one we need to do is the display of the available traits in the character selection. The doll view not centered, okay, it's not a big thing, probably will not do it. Selection of race should change the doll view character. Yeah, that is this. That is this. So these two we did. Also this one is. So why we put it before? I have no idea. So actually, actually we had that point already. We had that point, so I think I can just override, you know, this one with this. And we didn't do this. Actually, this one I would probably move it at the bottom. At the moment, I'm not very interested into this thing. It's just a camera problem. Not really. Not really. Yeah. So what I was saying is that what we did is actually then this one and this one. Then F selection traits working based on the selected race. Well, there is another one in the middle, which will be to actually populate the two lists. So we will have to populate the traits. How do you call these things? The selectors, selector UI, selector arrows. I don't know. So we have to populate the trait selector arrows with a list of available traits. Yes, so that is the next one that we will do, because at the moment we have the traits on the client, but we didn't yet enable these two small things, these two arrows, right, to select. And also we didn't type the text here, so we don't know which options we have, but actually the data is already coming to our client, so it's just a matter of populating them, then to have the selection working, and then the display the available traits and character selection. Yeah, this was actually a duplicate then of this one. Okay. Yeah, I think I had already most of it. Okay, good. So I think I will close it for today. I think I streamed a bit less than yesterday. I think I streamed only 3 hours instead of 4, but I hope that you liked it anyway. I think I will stream also tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon. I think I will try to stream if I can. If not, next week. Next week I should be able to stream a bit in the evenings. We'll start my normal day job, so in the evening I will have potentially some time, and so we will see each other either tomorrow afternoon or Monday evening. See you, boys. Have fun.